What's up, everyone? It's your boy, The Business, coming back at you live for episode 10 of The Business. Let's be real. Tonight's special guest, I was lucky enough to reach out to my cousin Nelson, who had a contact who is Trai Essex, who is a two-time Super Bowl champion and color commentator with ESPN. He does some college football, and super excited to have him. I wanted to have him on, kind of pick his brain, go through some of his road to the NFL and how it was like to win a couple of Super Bowls and some of his preparation for that. So super excited to have him on. Really, really awesome guy to be able to take time out of his busy schedule to come on and visit with us. So with that being said, The Business, let's be real. Episode 10 begins now. Welcome back, everyone. Here with Trai Essex. Trai, how you doing today, man?
Good. How you doing, my man?
Good. I appreciate you coming on. I know you're a busy man. I know, you guys are probably getting prepared, getting ready to watch the game tomorrow too, like everybody is. So, like I said, truly appreciate you giving me some time to come on in and chat with you today.
Oh, no problem. I'm happy to be here.
I did want to kind of go over some questions with you that I had written up. I was just kind of like reviewing your career, and I knew that you grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Are you back in Fort Wayne now? Is that where you're living at currently too?
2 hours south. I'm in Indy now. My last stop was with the Colts, so we just kind of set up shop here after I got done playing.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. I mean, especially since you're from like the Indiana area, and
right,
like you said, you got to play with the Colts and that and towards the end of your career. So that's awesome that you were able to do that. Can you kind of talk about when you were coming up through school and you were a two-sport athlete? I know that you played football. You were on the United States Army All-American team, the first team I think that they ever put together, right? Back in 2000.
Showing my age, man. Yeah, that is the truth. The process coming up through high school was crazy. My family wasn't really a big sports family. I was actually probably the first legit athlete that took sports seriously. Like my uncles played football and basketball, and some played tennis, but none of them went to college to play sports. And so growing up, academics first in my household. And that's why I ended up choosing a school like Northwestern. Not to say they didn't have a good football team, because at that time they had just won the Big Ten, and I was excited to be a part of something on the rise. And like you mentioned, I had a pretty good career at tight end. Thought I was going to play tight end in college, but then that freshman cafeteria is a little bit too kind to me, and I put on that quick freshman 50. People put on freshman 15. I put on freshman 50, and grew into an offensive lineman after my freshman year, which ended up being the best decision. Coach Randy Walker, the late Coach Randy Walker, God rest his soul, told me as I was making that transition that you're going to make a lot of money playing offensive line. I didn't want to hear him at the time. All I was like, you're telling me I'm not going to get to catch the ball no more. That's all I heard. But he's like, no, this is the right position for you, and you'll thank me in the future. And lo and behold, it all came to fruition after a really good 4 years at Northwestern, where I played after I switched from tight end to left tackle. I started every game after that, and ended up getting drafted to my childhood favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it was a blessing.
No, that's awesome. And it was funny because earlier in the weekend I was gonna touch about the fact that when you were making your way up through, and then being a basketball player, I think it's kind of probably easier as well to be a tight end because you got good hands. So and I know that when you made it to Northwestern that freshman year, I mean you had some catches and stuff too. Like you weren't just like sitting on the bench for Northwestern at that time. You were playing tight end position.
No, I was a pretty good tight end. I'm not going to want to toot my own horn too much, but I mean they recruited me to play tight end, and I had a couple of big schools coming after me, Notre Dame, and I took a visit down to the U, as it was called back then, and got ushered around by Jeremy Shockey, one of the great tight ends. And so Butch Davis was the coach down there. So when I came in as a freshman, I thought I would revolutionize the Northwestern tight end position anyway, because they didn't really throw to their tight end that much. I was like, oh, they brought me in so they could use me. And I caught a few passes, and I thought I played pretty well my freshman year at tight end.
And then you talked about how, your coaches came to you then your sophomore year and kind of asked you to transition to offensive tackle.
Right.
I guess if you can kind of talk in a little bit of length about how that transition went, what it was like to go from being a tight end to transitioning to being an offensive lineman, and just the preparation and how it's different being a lineman to being a receiver.
So if any position can switch to offensive line is tight end. We do a lot of the same things from a blocking perspective, especially in the run game. The one thing I had to learn was pass protection. As a tight end, I'm on routes usually when there's a pass play called, and at tackle, I had to learn how to fend usually the best athlete on the field. Outside the DBs, the defensive end outside the left tackle is usually the better athlete on the defensive side of the ball. And so I had to learn how to punch and block people, essentially moving backwards, because as you're pass setting as an offensive lineman, you're going backwards and they're running forward. And so that concept seems kind of crazy when you think about it, but learning angles and learning hand placement was very important, because the minutia of an offensive lineman is what gets you from being good to great. And I had to learn the little things of what it took to block and fend off a defender from the offensive line position. That was probably the biggest difference.
That has to be, like I said, that has to be a difficult transition, especially when it's different, I guess, when you're in high school still, and you can kind of transition at that point. But I mean, being in college, I know, like you said, you were kind of recruited to be. Hold on 1 second, he just popped off. But he's kind of recruited to be for the tight end position, and he was kind of looking forward to that. And that's, that's understandable that he wasn't able to continue that, but I think he transitioned well. He seemed like he was excited to do so, and made the best of it when he did transition into the offensive tackle position for Northwestern, and so he definitely made the best of it. He's having some technical issues. His laptop just booted off, but that's okay. We'll wait for it to boot back up. But yeah, so when he comes back in, we're going to try to talk to him about, then after his Northwestern career, how it was like to, go to somewhere where it was a childhood dream for him. He was a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan growing up, so to get drafted into the Pittsburgh Steelers, it had to be a great time for him. I mean, he had to be so excited at the fact that he was getting a chance to go somewhere and play that he had dreamt about as a kid, and I mean that in itself has to be a super cool thing. So. But yeah, and that's pretty much kind of what I'm going to talk to him about. And like I said, he's like I said, went to Northwestern. He had worked his way out from Fort Wayne, Indiana, went to Northwestern, which is a Big Ten school, so we got to play the big teams like Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Rutgers, Wisconsin, all those tough teams. I mean, and one thing that the Big Ten is known for is for its linemen. The linemen that are in the Big Ten have always been have always had a great reputation when they came out. And that's one thing that we can always say that's good about the Big Ten is that the Big Ten, like I said, has always had its notoriety for good linemen, and Trai was one of those. So hold on a second, he's back in. Let me pop him back into the feed. All right, big guy.
I'm so sorry, man.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
My laptop.
I was just rambling on too. Like once you popped off of it for a second, I was like, no worries. I'm still talking about what I was saying was how you going to Northwestern and Northwestern being in the Big Ten and the Big Ten is so well known for its linemen and then how how it's a true breeding ground for the NFL with linemen, and for you to be in the Big Ten and you battled, like you said, for you started every game then from your sophomore year on, and then I think I want to say in 2005 then is when you were drafted into the NFL. I was, and it was funny because you kind of somewhat touched on it earlier. But I had watched an interview with you the other day, and you were talking about how you grew up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan,
right?
So to then be drafted by the team that you had always followed as a kid, how did that feel for you when you finally got drafted?
It felt great. I mean, and to your point about the linemen in the Big Ten, there are a lot of great offensive linemen, but there are a lot of great defensive linemen too, and that prepared me in a big way to play for the team that I always dreamed about playing for. And being an offensive lineman for the Steelers, it means something. I mean, the lineage and the history of all the Hall of Famers, and there's a future Hall of Famer, I think, in Alan Faneca that's going to be nominated here soon. To get a chance to play with those guys, there's Marvell Smith, who was a Pro Bowler. My good friend Max Starks was the starting right tackle. Kendall Simmons, who's now coaching down in Auburn, and Jeff Hardings, who went to Penn State, another one of those Big Ten linemen you were talking about. Those are the linemen I came in and got to learn from, and it was a big deal. And Big Ten definitely prepared me for it. And it was an easier transition going to play behind those guys, learning from those greats, and also being coached by a Hall of Fame coach in Russ Grimm, who was a former Hog for the Washington Redskins. All that stuff prepared me. I really got drafted to a very fortunate situation, on top of it being a dream come true playing for my favorite childhood team.
No, that's awesome, man. Now, if you can talk, I guess, a little bit about when you finally then got drafted to Pittsburgh, and then I want to say that same season you guys ended up going to the Super Bowl.
You did,
and winning it, and then I guess if you could talk a little bit about, I know that like I said, I was looking over the career, and I know that at first in the first half of the season you weren't playing, and then the whole second half of the season you were playing, and I mean, I guess talk about that, and and then I'll ask you a question about like your preparation like for the Super Bowl separately afterwards.
And so going into my rookie year, I mean, that team was loaded, and they had just came off a 15-1 year the year before, Big Ben's rookie year, and they had made it to the AFC Championship against the Patriots and got handled pretty well. So they came into this season very motivated and with a focus on going to the big show. And mind you, Northwestern at the time, my best season was probably 6 and 7. I hadn't had a whole lot of success playing football in the last 4 years. And so I'm going from that into a team that's coming off a 15-1 in the AFC Championship performance. and coming to that team, having to learn on the run because we only carried 9 linemen. And if one or two of them went down, then you were essentially going to be dressed on game day. And so with Marvell Smith in front of me, I got kind of comfortable. I was like, this is a Pro Bowler. You know, nothing's wrong. I'm probably not going to play. I got this whole year to learn. Wrong. Wrong. About 4 or 5 games into the season, he gets a pretty significant back injury, and he can't feel his leg when he pass sets, and he has some nerve issues there. And so my first game was against Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens, our dreaded rivalry, and I got Terrell Suggs. And not only that, Ben was hurt, and Tommy Maddox was starting. And so it was a whole different ball game for me. I had to block differently because Tommy's more of a standard issue, drop back 5, get the ball out type of quarterback, versus Ben, who is going to drop back 5, go to the right 5, go up 5, go to the left 10. He's going to make a play. And so it was just a different mindset. And to my credit, and to my Coach Grimm's credit, and to the rest of the linemen, they always told me to stay prepared. You know, you never know where your number is going to be called. If you're on this team, if you're on this 53, you're probably going to play this year. And so there's no such thing as a red shirt year in the NFL. And so I knew that. I always had that in the back of my head. Didn't think I was going to play, but I did. And I like to think that I contributed in a good way because right when I played, we started going on a win streak. And we had lost to the Colts here in Indianapolis, actually. My second game, Monday Night Football, John Madden was calling it. Got to go against Dwight Freeney. I remember that like it was yesterday. That was a pretty tough game for me, but they had enough faith in me to keep me in the game. And I got the chance to block and start for Jerome Bettis, his last 100-yard game ever against the Bears in the snow, in a very crucial game for us because the Bears were leading the NFC North at the time. And we needed this just to stay alive in the playoff hunt. And Willie Parker goes down, and Jerome Bettis comes in and does Jerome Bettis things in the snow. And there's an iconic picture that we always talk about of him running over Urlacher to get into the end zone for the game-winning score, which is awesome. But, it was such a whirlwind that year because I didn't know what to expect, but I knew this team, it felt different because they were destined with Coach Cower, Jerome Bettis, Troy Polamalu. I could go down a list of all the great players that had on that team and what they were focused on. And I had to come in on the run and be a part of that and contribute and not let my guys down.
No, that's awesome. And you know, like you were saying, that team was loaded.
Yeah.
Like that team was loaded at that time. I mean, like, and you just touched on just a couple of the names. You know, when at that time too, you know, you said Ben was like only in his second year. Mm-hmm. Ben was such a monster then too. He was like almost just as big as you guys as the lineman. Like he was a big dude, you know,
and big too.
I don't think people understood that. Like, you know, the fact that that's why he was able to shrug off tackles earlier in his career and make it look a lot easier than now. He's gotten older, and I know he's a lot slower and stuff. But I mean, back then he was so freakishly big, and I mean, I know it had to be something different for you guys to kind of try to protect him. You know, but I mean, you guys did an awesome job, and like I said, you guys went on to win back in 2005, and then I want to say you guys turned around and then in 2008 went back and did it again, right?
Yeah. We had a transition. The thing is, when Coach Cower retired and Coach Tomlin took over, mm-hmm. It wasn't as if we had lost a bunch of guys. I think Joey Porter had left. Alan Faneca was like in his last year, but the talent on both sides of the ball was still there. So Coach Tomlin came in and there was a transition. It wasn't it wasn't a rebuild. It was a reload. And I got spoiled. I think I only missed the playoffs 1 year the whole time I was playing, maybe twice. But I went to 3 Super Bowls in 6 years, which is crazy. I mean, I didn't expect that. And there's a lot of guys who don't get a chance to go to one. But Coach Tomlin, in his first year, we played against the Jaguars and lost to them in 2007, but then came back with a renewed focus in 2008. And that squad was even better than the 2005 squad. And it was amazing. We went on a nice run, and we were fairly dominant this year. We didn't sneak into the playoffs like we did in 2005. as the 6th seed. We were the 1 seed, and we came, we saw, and we conquered that year.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I remember that transition of when Cowher was retiring and Tomlin was taking over, and it truly was like you guys never skipped a beat, like at all. It was like literally a reload, and you guys were right back at it again. I guess I'm like, let me see, because I know my son wanted me to ask you a question. He was like, make sure you ask Mr. Trai a question for me, and I was like, all right, buddy, I will. So he wanted to know. He was like, can you ask him about like his preparation for the Super Bowls, like how he mentally got prepared, and if you, of course, you know, he's a 9-year-old kid, so he wants to know if you were nervous, like getting ready for those games. He was like, you know, can you ask him if he was nervous getting ready for some of those big games, like how kids are today?
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you something. I get nervous for every game. There's those butterflies in your stomach. They never cease to exist. They're always there. And yeah, you understand the magnitude of the Super Bowl. But the nervousness, all that is in pregame. You practice during the week like you normally do. Obviously, the fanfare is a little more. You got more media obligations throughout the week. That's different. But practice isn't different. You're actually a little bit more loose during Super Bowl week because you realize this is it. I mean, this is the last game of the year, and you're there in a big show, and so you can put everything on the line. You don't got to save up for the following week. You don't got to worry about what your contract extension. You don't got to worry about anything. You got to worry about that one game. So that actually takes a lot off your plate, knowing that you don't have to worry about playoff position and all that other stuff. This is the game. This is the one that's going to determine if you're the champion of the league or not. So in that part, it made things a little easier. But on game day, yeah, I was nervous in the mug for those Jets, and then you hear all the crowd and the pregame show going on. We're not out there for the pregame show, but we hear all the noise. And then when you come out that tunnel and you realize, dang, man, this is the Super Bowl. There are a billion people watching this right now, this one game at this moment. And so it kind of hits you. But then as soon as you get into the game and you make contact with that guy the first time, everything else goes out the window. You don't care about anything else. Nothing else matters. You don't even realize you're in the Super Bowl anymore. You just realize you're in this game and that man across from you is trying to take something from you, and you ain't going to let him.
No, that's awesome. When, you know, after he was asking me that question to ask you, you know, we talked about it, and I told him, I said, buddy, you never aren't nervous. You know what I mean? Like you're always gonna be nervous. You're always gonna have those butterflies, and that's a good thing. I think that makes you, you know, and I try to tell him it's not about being scared. It's about being excited. Like you're excited for the moment.
If you're not nervous, something's wrong with you. If you don't feel the nerves and that, like, there are some guys who try to play it cool and stuff like that, but no, everybody has that feeling in their gut, like, okay, this is game time. You know, it's not like you're afraid of anything, but you just know it's about to be a little battle out there. You got to be ready. You got to have your mind right.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now I know since you played pro ball, I saw that you had done some football camps. Were you doing the football camps back in Fort Wayne or there in Indianapolis, or where were you doing the football camps at?
Back in Fort Wayne. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we didn't have it this past year. It would have been my fifth. It would have been the 5th year of my the Trai Essex football camp at New Haven High School, which is the high school that kind of adopted me. I went to Harding High School. That school has since closed down. Since I've retired, and so everybody from that school, coaches and students, kind of transitioned to New Haven, and the staff and coaching staff and the faculty at New Haven brought me in as if I was their own, and we've been doing that camp the last 5 years. Some good showing, averaging about 200 kids a year, and it's been great. It's been fun.
Oh no, that's awesome. And you know, it's such a you know, big thing, I think, for superstars such as yourself who do give away and make good of themselves to be able to come back home and kind of, you know, not hold on to that knowledge. You're passing it on to these kids and letting them know. And I mean, I know it sucks this past year that everything that happened with COVID, that it kind of it shut everything down. And
It did.
hopefully, I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to in this upcoming year, but hopefully soon again, you'll be able to get your camps going again.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think we'll at least do something. Maybe it's on a lighter scale, but at least if we're out there, the kids will know that we didn't forget about them, and that's the main.
That is the main thing. No, that's awesome. Now I know that you were doing some color commentating with ESPN3, and I know that you were doing some stuff with college football. And I know that you were looking. I know your hopes as far as probably with the color commentating, I would assume would be to try to get on the Big Ten Network. I would think, so that you can kind of commentate some of those games. Is that where have you gone with the color commentating, and where are you hopefully looking to go with it?
Yeah. So for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been doing Division II football through Niles Media Group, who has contracts with ESPN and Facebook, and they also have D2.com is the website that covers Division II football and does all their stats and whatnot. So I've been doing that last 4 or 5 years, and it's been great. It's been wonderful. I've been going to schools that I might have never even heard of or thought to go to, and these little cities that I would have never thought to go to. And it's pretty cool to see the passion for football for these kids who don't have the same facilities, who don't have the same access to medical care, and the fans aren't as loud as the fans at Ohio State. And so they're out there playing strictly for the love of the game. Now, every now and then you'll come across a kid who has what it takes to make to the big league. I mean, he got lost in the shuffle in the recruiting process. And those are pretty cool to see. They're few and far in between at that level, but they are there. And you know it right away when you see it. But for the most part, these kids are just playing strictly for the love of the game. And it's something pure about that and humbling when these kids are out there risking injury. And we have seen some injuries and not having the best coverage because of that. But they're out there just playing their hearts out. And the love of the game shows through. And so that's what I've been doing. And, eventually if I could go do some Big Ten games, do some Power 5 conference games for whatever network, that would be great. But I'm actually not upset or not. I'm pretty happy being in Division II calling these games. And so if I'm doing that for the next 3 or 4 years, I'll be happy. But yeah, of course, I would love to one day call the Sugar Bowl or, something like that in the future. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. And, I think that you kind of have to take your lumps and bruises in the same way that you did on your way up to the top in football, and I don't think that, not trying to knock what the D2 thing is, because like you said, you're trusting the process right now. You're working your way through, and it could be 2, 3, 4 years until you get to where you want to be. But I think that's awesome. I think you're doing something even with that a lot of kids look up to. You know what I mean? Because and I always bring up my son on these shows, because he already has it in his mind. He's a young kid. He's only 9, but he goes to a communication and fine arts school. He's in film class. He wants to, he's trying to be part of the news for next year, for his 5th grade year. And, he's already talked to me about what he's going to do post sports. He's very good at basketball, very good at baseball, but knows that will end someday. And his plan is to go to school for sports journalism and and try to get a degree in that, so that he can eventually try to do like what you're doing right now.
Right. Hey, if you love the game, there's more than one way to get into it. And so by all means, like, go hard in the paint at whatever field he chooses. And sports journalism, always looking for some good, honest sports journalists out there. And so if he loves the game, he'll find his way.
Oh yeah. I'm like, that's the plan, and unfortunately for him, he stuck with me, and I'm very real with him about everything, and but he's very good at this. Like, I've had him on the show a couple times already, and He did the college show with us and kind of ran over some stats. And he really wanted to come on here with you today and just kind of shoot it with you a little bit, just to pick your brain as well. But like I said, so he gave me a couple of questions for me to ask you instead. He was like, "Well, just make sure you ask him this and ask him that." And I was like, "Oh, I will for sure."
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, you made his day today. I'm sure he's out there watching it right now, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Dad asked a question. Cool." So that's awesome that you're able to do that. What I'm gonna do now with you is kind of play a Super Bowl game that I'm gonna call Pick Your Poison. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw a couple of names at you, and of course, I want you to pick who you prefer.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, we'll talk about what your thoughts are on the Super Bowl game, and then I'll let you close it up with your prediction on who's going to win the game. Okay.
Nice. Oh, 1 second. I think my phone is going to die, so I'm transitioning back to my computer that just popped right back up. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. What I'll do then is I'll pop you off. Because it's probably gonna unless you can jump in. I don't know. See if you can jump in on the other one. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're coming in.
Okay.
What you're gonna yep, there you go.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, you're perfect.
Smooth transition.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, this part of the show is going to be called Pick Your Poison. I'll ask you a couple questions, like I said, about certain topics in the game, and then I'll let you go ahead and answer them. All right, what we're going to start with is, of course, the quarterback position. Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady?
That's going to be the hardest question you asked me today, I bet. But I'm gonna go with the young gun. It's something about him, and he no matter what the odds are against him, how many points he's down, he's already shown that he can overcome any amount of points, especially when he was down 21, 28 points to Houston last year.
Yeah,
he was able to put up like 50 straight points, which was amazing. But the kid is awesome, and I think this is the ultimate changing of the guard. I mean, who else would you rather have going against than the GOAT and Tom Brady versus the up-and-coming face of the NFL and Patrick Mahomes? And not to take anything away from Tom, he has a lot of weapons there. And obviously he's going to put up a fight because this is where he's made his mark. He's going for number 7, something that is crazy when you say it out loud. It makes me insanely jealous. But, I mean, some people just have all the good luck, Some people just got it, and he got it. And everybody I ever talked about how great of a teammate he is. He is the most successful player in NFL history, and yet everybody I talk about says how humble he is and how appreciative he is of all his teammates. And so this is an awesome situation for him. I know a lot of people down in Tampa because BA, that Bruce Arians, was my offensive coordinator coach, and Harold Goodwin, the offensive line coach, was my assistant O-line coach, and then Antoine Randall is down there, and Larry Foote is down there, and then Byron Leftwich. So I'm rooting for them because I want them to get a ring, but it's going to be tough going against that dude, Patrick Mahomes, and so I'm right with that guy.
No, that's true. That's a good pick. My next pick for you is going to be Tyreek Hill or Mike Evans.
I thought the quarterback one was going to be tough. This one is – I'm going to say Tyreek because it's just Tyreek and Kelsey. Now, they got Mecole Hardman, but there won't be as many teammates to share the ball with. Mike Evans has to contend with AB. He has to contend with Gronk. He has to contend with Chris Godwin. And then the other kids, Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson and Leonard Fournette, because Tom likes to dump the ball off a lot. So I think Tyreek will have the bigger game.
Oh, that's cool. I think it's gonna be a close game. The way that KC uses Tyreek though is phenomenal. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that's like when I'm from Cleveland originally, and I think that's what Cleveland's mindset is when they try to use OBJ in that same fashion almost.
Right.
know, is that Tyreek style, because Tyreek is just phenomenal to watch.
The thing is, too, him and Kelsey are the perfect yin and yang, because the defenses are so terrified of Tyreek beating them deep that Kelsey just finds a little nook in there inside that zone, and Patrick finds him every single time. So they like, as soon as you try to cheat up to take Kelsey away, Tyreek go right by you. So
that's true. That's true. It's funny that you talk about Kelsey, because Kelsey's my next one. It's going to be Travis Kelsey or Rob Gronkowski.
Kelsey, that's close.
I figure that's an easier one, only because Rob's in the state he's in now, and I think that's just.
But I will say this: Gronk is going to have an impact on this game, because, I mean, just as familiar as Tom is with the Super Bowl, Gronk is too. Gronk has 3 championships. He's been to 4 big games, so the moment's not going to be too big for him. And he is Tom's comfort blanket. Like, he had the other tight end in Cameron Brate, who actually is pretty good too, and Tom is finding him a lot more lately. But Gronk knows how to score touchdowns, and he's still unguardable in the red zone. Yeah,
that's no disrespect to Cameron Brate, like that. I didn't mention him in the tight end matchup, but
he's Gronk versus Kelsey. No,
yeah. Now, KC's defense or Tampa Bay's defense?
Tampa's. Now, KC has some guys, and Chris Jones, he turns it on when the lights are big. So does Frank Clark. And so those guys are going to get after Tom. But that defensive line from the Tampa Bay, and those linebackers, it's especially the linebackers in Levante David, and Devin. What's Devin's last name from LSU? Devin White, okay. Number 45. So Devin White's a freaking beast. And he flies all over the field, and so that's the one thing Kelsey has to worry about, because they have linebackers that can cover. And so I don't know if he's faced somebody as fast as White before, and who can cover as well as him. And then that D line and JPP and Sue and Shaq Barrett, and they got Vita Vea back. I mean, that is a formidable defensive line that they have. And so that's where everything starts. And if they can limit, they've been number 1 rush defense in the league this whole year. And if KC can't run the ball, now KC can beat you in a whole bunch of different ways, but they like to run the ball first. That's their base. And Tampa's going to take that away. So.
That's a good pick. I mean, KC does have some pieces on defense. The Honey Badger's huge because he's a game changer. Just the way he attacks, both on the defensive side and when he's rushing to on the edge, he causes a lot of problems for teams. But like you said, I think Tampa's defense is just so stacked. I don't think they get the respect they deserve sometimes, because of course everybody wants to look at the offense and talk about, Tom and the receivers and the weapons he has. And, like you said, Leonard Fournette, I mean, the tight ends, I mean, he's got so many weapons over there. So, but I think that their defense sometimes doesn't get enough respect, but that defense is loaded.
They're loaded. But I will say KC, they've been there before. The Tampa Bay, everybody but Tom and Gronk, this is new for them. Inexperience is key. And so nobody in that defense except for JPP, I think, has been to the big show. So it will be interesting.
Yeah. No, and it's true. It's true because like how you were saying about, with your team going into that 2008 season and that reload, that's pretty much all KC did. KC didn't wipe out a bunch of guys and add a bunch of guys in the offseason. They did was they just got prepared to continue the tradition of winning and trying to get back to the Super Bowl and win it again, from last season.
Definitely.
Now this one might be a little bit closer to your heart because of the Bruce Arians tie, but I gotta do the coaches, and so Andy Reid or Bruce Arians.
It's definitely Bruce Arians. Yeah, I mean, BA is close to my heart. Not only was he my offensive coordinator, but when he came over to coach for the Colts, he brought me over to the Colts after I got released by the Steelers. And ironically enough, before COVID went down, I was supposed to do a coaching internship with Tampa Bay this year. So understand how upset I am that I can't be down there in the warm sun with them. But BA, he deserves this. He has been in the game a long time. He's been and won Super Bowls as a position coach, as a coordinator, but this is his first time going as the guy, as the head coach, and him and his Kingo hat deserve this, man. Like they deserve this championship, and I'm rooting for him. Especially he has done a good job, especially with all the minority hiring he's done, all the bringing in the women to coach as well. Like he's made that a diverse staff, a championship diverse staff under his tutelage, and now they got a chance to compete for the game. This is going to be huge, not only for him, but for the rest of the NFL, seeing that this works. Hiring minority coaches works. Hiring women to coach works. And he's been a pioneer in that aspect. So not only for my personal bias, I think this would be great for the NFL for him to win one.
No, that's true. I mean, I'm actually, I don't know if you know, I'm actually in the Tampa area now. That's where I reside is I'm in Tampa. I'm just south of Tampa in Bradenton now, Sarasota area. And so, yeah, the people out here love Bruce Arians. Just love the staff, love the people, Byron Leftwich and all those guys. Like that whole squad is just a great group of coaches. I mean, and they have a great group of players there. And I think that, what they've been able to do to get to the Super Bowl it just speaks volumes for the culture there in Tampa Bay. And like you said, I think what he's been able to do is transcending the game. And I think that, I think Andy does the same because, he's got Eric Bieniemy and those guys over there. And that's a great coaching staff over there as well. And I think that, it's huge that, we're able to see this time of football to where it is showing the capabilities of coaching staffs being multicultural because of the fact that it's huge for the game because we're not just seeing one side of it, and in order for us to move forward, that's the way the game's got to be.
Get to the point where we ain't even looking at that. Like we don't even have to talk about it because it's such a normal thing because it should be just based on coaching. That's it. And
if you know the game, you know the game. It doesn't matter what you are. So
exactly.
All right, big guy. I'm going to hold you up for one more last little bit. If you want to give a final prediction on the game, what I'll do at this time is I'm going to I'll take myself off of the screen. I'm going to put you full screen and kind of let you just talk about some of the pros and cons, I guess, to the game, and then who you think's going to win, and throw a score out there if you don't mind.
Okay, sounds good. All right, it's going to be a fun game tomorrow. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, and then you got Edwards-Helaire and then Le'Veon Bell, former Steeler, on the offense. So that offense is going to be explosive. They have been all year, 15-1, 14-1 when they've been healthy and playing on the same page. And outside, they are missing the left tackle Eric Fisher, which I think is going to be crucial, but that offense is outstanding, and the defense always plays well in the playoff and has been playing well leading into the playoffs with Frank Clark and Chris Jones causing havoc on the D-line, getting pressure at all stops. But on the other side, you got Tampa Bay, who's just as explosive on offense. We knew coming in that Tom Brady was going to have a lot of weapons at his disposal, and then he brings Gronk along with him. And then they bring Antonio Brown, another former Steeler, along with him. And they're just stacked on offense, and they've been crescendoing at the right time. They had a little trouble early, they had a little trouble late, but they started to put it all together at the right time, and they're crescendoing when you want to in the playoffs. And on top of that, when they were not playing their best offensively, when they weren't on the same page, they had a all-world defense led by Devin White and Levante David and JPP, who has had a resurgence in Tampa, and then Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea. They're stacked as well. And then the rookie Antoine Winfield Jr. from Minnesota, who's came in and really solidified that secondary. And so it's going to be interesting because both sides have all the weapons that you need. This is what you want in the Super Bowl. And it's really tough to really predict this. I think the spread is only like 3 points. But if I had to, if all things are being equal, if I think both sides have what it takes to win, I'm going to look at the quarterback position. That's going to be the determining factor for me. And I just think nobody's better on this earth right now than Patrick Mahomes. And I think KC wins it by a score of 31-27.
All right, big guy. Well, like I said, man, I appreciate your time, dude. I appreciate you coming on, chopping it up with me. Like I said, man, so I appreciate that, you know, my cousin Nelson was able to reach out to you and shoot me your number and was like, hey, reach out to him. He's a super cool guy. And you too, and you truly are. And I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad we were able to do this. I'm actually coming up to Indianapolis in April. So if I'm out that way, I'll shoot you a text, man.
Like, do you play golf?
No, I don't play golf.
That's fine. We can find something else to do.
That's too much. That's too much walking for me.
Fair enough. Golf is my new football now. So,
but I tell you what, though, but I will be out there with a bunch of people that do golf. So I'll hit you up, man, and see if we can get together out there. And then if you make your way to Tampa and you ever get a chance to like what you were saying, come on to Bruce Arians' staff, man. You know, we'd be welcome to have you here, dude. You know what I'm saying? You can come by and have some dinner with us and, you know, we'll barbecue it up and you can have a good time, man.
I love a good barbecue, Tony. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, Trey. You take care of yourself. And like I said, man, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too, bud. Yeah, that was Trai Essex, man. Super excited to have him on. So proud of the fact that he was able to take some time out of his busy schedule and come and see us and spend some time with us and really just, you know, give us some insight into what it's like to be a professional football player and what it's like to prepare yourself for games like the Super Bowl and what his road was leading up to that, going through college and coming out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and you know, he was like I said, he was an All-American tight end that, you know, that was kind of really pursued to be a tight end in college and went to Northwestern for that and then transitioned to be an offensive tackle. And I mean, how big is that to then make your way and work your way up to not only being a tackle, but then being a starting tackle and making your way through, man, it's exciting. So, I mean, super happy that he was able to come on. Totally appreciate him. Appreciate my cousin Nelson for making that connection for me. You know, couldn't say anything more about what he was able to do by just coming on, like I said, and chopping it up with me and, you know, just putting himself out there and letting you guys know what it's like. So I did want to, let me go in here real quick. I wanted to make one announcement that I had a friend of mine reach out to me and wanted to know if I could talk about this event that he has coming up called The Games. It is going to be next Saturday, February 13th. Lock It Up Tennis is going to be hosting an event at the Sarah Vandenberg Tennis and Wellness Center in Zephyr Hills, Florida. You come out and they have an event where they shoot out tennis balls from one baseline to the other, and it's based on how many you can catch. And they're going to do it like a tournament style, and then the winner is going to win $250 in the event. But what the important thing about the event is the fact that, you know, a portion of the proceeds are going to be donated to Lorraine Proud's organization. And Lorraine Proud is a organization based in Lorain, Ohio, that helps to support local businesses and the owners of those local businesses in Lorain. And so I think that that's a cool thing that Lock It Up Tennis is doing. So if you want information on this event, like I said, it's next Saturday, February 13th in Zephyr Hills, Florida at the Sarah Vandenberg Tennis and Wellness Center. Go to lockituptennis.com, check them out. And like I said, it's for a good cause, man. So if you can help support local businesses, help support Lorraine Proud. Anything that we can do, we're going to do it for them. So check it out, lockituptennis.com. I just want to thank you all again for coming on here, supporting the business. Let's Be Real episodes. I've been getting such good feedback from everyone. I'm so happy to be doing this. This is something that I always wanted to pursue, and was just too nervous to do so. Really didn't want to get on and make a mockery of myself. But I think that I've gotten on, and like I said, I've gotten some good feedback from family and friends, and just truly happy that I've been able to do this. If you ever get a chance, go on to my Facebook is under Tony Gonzalez. My YouTube is The Business Let's Be Real. Please, go on there, subscribe, like, comment. Same thing with my Instagram. My Instagram, The Business Let's Be Real. Check it out. I'll answer any questions you guys have. If you have some kind of insight into some shows you would like to see, some people you'd like for me to interview, let me know. And I'll reach out to them and try to see what I can do about getting them on the show, and asking them some questions about life and how they were able to achieve what they have. And that's kind of the whole point to this show, is just getting on with people in different professions and different lifestyles, and just letting them know that there are some people out there that have some questions, and that maybe that one little bit of information that they put out there may be grabbed by someone and be able to take it and roll with. So that's the whole point of this, so that's what I'm going to try to keep doing. And like I said, I'm enjoying doing it. I'm going to give my final quote of the day, and I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. My final quote is, if your dreams don't scare you, they are too small. That's the way I feel about what I've been able to do here. Like I said, it was a small dream. It scared me, but I'm excited to do it. This is what you have to do with your dreams. You have to see them. They have to scare you, because that you're going to have to push and work hard in order to do that. And I think that if you don't, then they're not big enough dreams. So keep pushing, keep doing what you do. Appreciate you all. The Business Let's Be Real, episode 10, over, out.